What's going on? We're back. Smack Talk Live going down. I got co-host King of motherfucking Kings, Ryan Phillips, here with me today. It's Fight Week Power Slap number 8. Ryan, it's a good time to be alive. How you feeling, my man?
Ooh-wee! Corey, baby. I'm telling you what, we're on Power Slap number 8. Ain't no hate. This one's going to be a great one. And I'm just excited to be here, buddy. How you been?
I've been phenomenal, man. Thank you for asking. I'm excited flying down there to Vegas. Can't wait to get my boots on the ground and feel that dry heat on my skin. I know it's a scorcher and things are heating up in Power Slap. I know we got the card late, but they kept on rolling out banger after banger after banger. We get Dumpling coming over from Russia. Like, come on, my man. How great is that? Bro. On American soil.
Yo, let me tell you something. The Russian Dumpling, I think, is a person that, you know, to the true OG, that's the guy that we all looked up to. That's the guy that we watched for. You know, I had alerts on my phone for when the Dumpling would fight just so I can watch him. So for me, and I know for the true OGs of this sport, it's huge, man. It's huge. I even texted Dana White and said, this is a huge day for Power Slap. And he hit me back with 2 fist emojis. So it's
amazing.
Right.
Yeah, I know Dana's incredibly excited. Dumpling doesn't speak Russian, but we see him here in America. We see him training. We see him evolve and do a lot of arm wrestling stuff, which I think is unique, kind of loosening up that arm, strengthening the arm, a lot of different techniques that we haven't seen some of the guys here be able to adapt. We're going to see, as everybody else is seeing right now, and a lot of the critics out there, we're seeing Dumpling step on almost every strike that he delivers, whether it's on a watermelon or a bob. Is he going to get that corrected, Ryan? Is he going to be able to make it clean?
Man, you know, I don't know. It's tough when you're up there. The nerves are going, you know, the adrenaline's rushing, your feet are going. You don't know what's happening. So, you know, let's hope. He's been in those leagues where you're pretty much getting away with murder. You could step and hit him with the forearm, even the inside of your elbow, and get away with it. Some of the leagues this guy was at. So let's hope. Fingers crossed. Dumpling, King to you. Get those feet down, buddy.
Absolutely, man. Great advice coming over here. You know, the star power just keeps on coming. We get the news this Saturday as part of the UFC broadcast. Paige Vanzant is going to compete in Power Slap. Man, do you think this is truly the biggest thing to happen and the biggest inflow in terms of fame and celebrity to come into the sport?
You know, well, for the biggest thing to happen to Power Slap was when they signed me. But you know, I'll take the second best with Paige Vanzant. You know, she is famous and she's you know, she's a great looking girl. She's got a lot of eyes on her. She just fought Elle Brooke in the Misfits. You know, she's a multi-sport athlete. She's doing a lot of things others aren't doing. You know, she's in the UFC. She's in BKFC. She was in the Misfits boxing. These are top tier organizations. Now she's in the top tier Power Slap. So let's see what she can do. She's got a tough match with Christine. And you know, it's going to be tough. I always say that it's going to take a couple matches for you to get that groove, for you to really feel the power of the slap, being a slap striker.
For sure.
So for Paige Vanzant, you know, this is going to be an experience for her. Let's see how she does. Let's see if her coaches and everyone stepped up.
Yeah. I mean, her coaches, Austin Turpin, we see in that preview video, Austin there obviously being a local in Florida, getting down there with Paige to help her work on some of her technique. But as you alluded to, Christine Wilmerans, no slouch in her own right, has the experience, took some massive blows from Sheena. So she's been able to focus. She's had time to get her head right, to be able to focus, wait for that call. You know, there's kind of been the talk in the pre-fight interview that we did with her on Slap News on our YouTube channel. We actually talked to Christine about that, and we talked about the MMA experience and how that plays in, because you often get hit from ways and areas that you don't particularly know. You have to worry about fists, elbows, knees, kicks, you know, a lot of things. And so we talked to Christine, and and she's, she even said, like, I've been kicked harder in the head with a leg kick than I have been with a slap. Obviously, technique kind of plays into everything, but we have 2 fighters with MMA experience going at each other. This could have the making of a very great fight in this women's division that I think we're all craving to be able to have a deeper roster and potentially one day a belt for the women. Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely 100% agree. I think, Paige is definitely a solid opponent. She's been taking blows to the head, for a very long time. Not only that, but she's been giving blows to the head. She's knocked out people with some punches before. She's not someone you don't want to, look over. So, but Christine, I just can't. I can't give it enough to that experience. The experience of Christine is second to none. I think, what happened with her and Sheena, Sheena's a freak athlete. She's a freak in a lot of senses of the word. She's awesome. But, I think anyone other than Sheena is in a lot of trouble. And I see, in my opinion, this is going to be a big and tough night for Paige.
Yeah. We're going to see, man. It's going to be coming up this Friday, live and free on Rumble. But man, we've got $69 tickets to get you in the door. Ryan, tell me what kind of value that is. Come on. You can't even get, 2 Big Mac meals for that anymore.
Yeah. Hey, you ain't lying, brother. A McChicken is $69. So, and who came up with that number? Steve will do it. I mean, what's going on here, bro? Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, that's great prices. Let's get those butts in the seats. We need eyes on the sport. That's what's going to push us forward. That's what's going to put us in the limelight. Is when we get those people, the real world people, sitting in those seats, screaming at the top of their lungs to the extreme violence that is the fucking power slap. So everyone's going to put on. Everyone that's on that card is a performer. I mean, this is one of the biggest cards that we put on to date.
100%. Let's talk about the other female match. We've got a newcomer in Karina Leaner going up against veteran now, I guess, Jackie Cataline, coming into her second match.
Mm-hmm.
The first time out with Jackie, there was a lot of hype. There was a lot of excitement. We've obviously seen that she's able to give a slap, however, not be a clean one. But can she take it? And how are we going to be able to see if her chin is going to go over here? In Katarina, we've got a journeyman, someone who fought in LFA, who fought in Bellator, went over and fought in bare knuckle. So, just as you talked about with Paige, we've got a journeyman person who competed in multiple organizations. However, she didn't make it to the UFC, but she's still been battle tested going up against Jackie, who's no slouch of her own, obviously with her wrestling background, as well as her MMA career. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, this is going to be a big one. I know Katarina. I know her guy. So I know that she is extremely tough, and I know the people that are surrounding her are very talented and extremely tough people. So I'm not overlooking her. She's definitely a new face. However, I see Jackie as being new too. I don't think you get the rookie card off until you take a blow to the head. She hasn't taken one yet. She's only given one. And the one that she gave, unfortunately was a DQ. Mm-hmm. So let's see if she's been training, which I know she has. I mean, she's a competitor through and through. She's very, a lot of respect to her. She's definitely a world-class athlete. However, she's got to get the feet down. She's got to get the club sorted, straighten the hand out. And but let's see what both of these ladies can do. It's going to be a big debut for both of them. In my opinion, it's still a debut for Jackie, even though she went up against Sheena. But she's got a lot to prove, and so does Katarina.
Absolutely. Let's take a moment to pause from the card itself. Let's go to yourself, Ryan. How have you been, man? We've kind of seen you take a bit of a break from social. Life been good? How's things treating you?
Yeah, man. I took a break for a little while. I thought this was a pretty good time to do it. I had a little bit of a run-in with the bell round 4. But, hey, I've been focusing on other things. I've been focusing on getting my house straightened out, working on that, putting some value on this thing. And, I've also got a new promotion at my job, so I've been focusing on that and learning some new things. And you can teach an old dog new tricks. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, you can, my man. Now you've had a bit of time away, getting back at it. I see you're re-kicking your podcast up. Let people know when that debut or revamp debut, I guess, of Barefisted's coming back.
Yeah. We got it. The boys are back. So I spoke to Dorian, spoke to John Davis, spoke to Devin. They're all on board. I think it's time that we come back. We show the world, who we are, the most violent podcast on the internet. We're not claiming to be the best, but we're damn sure the most violent. So come on, check us out Thursday at 9. It's going to be a big one. Hey, I heard Corey might be on there too. We'll see.
Yeah, my man. Like I said, I'm going to fly to Vegas. If I can get on, which I'm hoping to, we will be there.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go from here, my man? I mean, you've had the rise, you've had the fall. Kind of what's next for you, my man? You're still at the top of the ranking. You're still one of the toughest dogs in the heavyweight division. What
Yeah.
do you see as a logical path for you forward at this particular time?
Yeah, I think I'm gatekeeping right now. I think I'm number one for the belt. I don't think there's anyone else in the division that could beat the belt unless you get a powered up king. And that's what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be powering up. Unfortunately, in some ways I may have overlooked the belt a little bit. My confidence was at extremely high. But I'm glad what happened. I'm going to be honest and say it wasn't the greatest match for me. I was definitely not there. I wasn't in my element. You could tell. I wasn't freaking out. I wasn't, getting the crowd riled. I was in a weird headspace. So, but as the same as I could say for me, I think Bell also didn't have the best match either. And that also is something that fuels me too, because there might be a better Bell out there. So I'm working, but hey, if Power Slap wants to throw me a contender, whoever it may be, maybe Brian Ellis, maybe someone from the season 3, maybe even Dorian Perez himself, the Disturbing the Peace, my brother. But hey, I'm still here, man, and I'm still looking for the heavyweight gold. But we'll see. We'll give it another run, see what happens, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, my man. There is a heavyweight matchup on this card, Power Slap number 8, coming up this Friday. We've got Logan Greenhall going up against Cooper Howley. Two guys, two more rookie guys on the card, but two guys that are looking here with a victory coming out to potentially push for a opponent in the top 5 after this one. What do you see in these two guys' game, and how do you think this match is going to go?
Yeah, I just see two normal guys, Hey, I love the house. I love Logan. These guys are here to bring it. They're both talented individuals. The house exploded onto the scene with some first round KOs, on one KOs. And those are exciting. So the on one is tricky, man. It's hard to defend. It's hard to get the timing down. You don't know when it's coming. If they use it right. And I've seen some people, especially my man Anthony Blackburn, throwing the on one with some hellacious speed. So that's very tricky to get around. Logan, though, he's tough as nails, man. He took one from Crespo. Crespo, I know, hits hard. So he took one from Crespo, turned right around and started aping out and turning on the crowd and going wild. So that dude is tough as nails. So he's already been tested that way. I think also Cooper taking that shot from Stevie Ray, that was a big one, man, and he ate that good. So this is going to be a solid match. I don't necessarily want to say who's going to get the W, but I'm just excited to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. I personally think that the winner of this does get one of those top 5 guys. I mean, who knows? Maybe you're going to gatekeep it at the top of the division. The winner of this could potentially be a matchup for you, and we'll see how these young guys fare.
Hey,
you talked about a fellow heavyweight, now turned super heavyweight, Dwayne Crespo, making his debut in the super heavyweight division up against Dane, the Hawaiian Hitman Vianz.
Oh yeah,
is Dwayne?
I love this. First of all, let me put some things to the side. I love Dwayne, man. He's a great guy. He's a great competitor, man. I'm kind of upset that he left me here alone in the heavyweight division. I wanted that rematch, Dwayne. We'll see about that, though. I know you're not going to be weighing 380. So maybe you can come back and rematch me one day. But hey, for this match, this is a big match for Dwayne. Let's see what he can do. It's tough because he's losing like 80 pounds. Like
sure.
Isn't the Hawaiian Hitman like 360?
Yeah,
to him 280.
Yeah.
So this is big time. Let's see what happens, man. And I love both guys. I love both the Hawaiian Hitman. The Vianz brothers are two of my favorites. As much as I love Dwayne. Let's see what he could do. If he could pull out the upset, man, hey, that's going to be a big shock to the Power Slap world.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see they're definitely, the brass of Power Slap has respected what Dwayne has done. They're giving the #1 contender in super heavy. As you said, he's probably going to be giving up somewhere in the range of 60 to 80 pounds to Dane Vianz. We're going to find out, do those supers actually hit harder? We're going to find out right now, because obviously we've seen Dwayne be able to test his chin against the greatest, and we've seen him fall against the greatest in the heavyweight division also. So if he's going to be able to withstand. And then now we're putting it into context. I mean, at least I've spoken about this before. How does athleticism play into this? How does that extra weight, we've talked about it, and I've always said, when you kind of get over that 360, 380, you're just accumulating more fat on your body, it's going to start to take away from your mobility and your athleticism and your ability to transfer that weight through your slap. So are we to see the lighter guy with a bit more athleticism that's able to get some of that, some of that rotation into his strike? Is it going to play to his advantage? Or is that big baseball mitt of a hand that Dane Vianz has going to be too much? We don't know. Is it going to be a massive club against Dwayne's face overall? I mean, we'll see. This is the kind of that epic moment of truth. Two big guys. Obviously, we know Dwayne is up to the challenge. We know Dane is coming to this happily to accept the match, looking to one day try to propel himself. I know he ran into some disqualification or some DQ issues in the past, but we're going to see. This is a great match. Both competitors overall are going into this one, I think, very hungry. And I mean, the stakes are incredibly high. I know we have 3 super heavyweight matches on the realm. And we've seen before what Power Slap likes to do as well. They're not just going to anoint you that number one is facing whoever is a guaranteed title shot. We have Dumpling and we have Camille. I mean, if Dumpling wins, the winner of this match, it's going to be like, who won in more of a distinct fashion? Who can we market and push forward? I mean, we've seen that with the crazy Hawaiian and Danny, as a prime example. Now I think we're coming to this place now, and I think some of the guys in Power Slap early on, they had the belief that if I keep winning, I'm going to get rewarded and fight guys higher up in the ranks. Now we're seeing that they want you to have, KO distinct, entertaining matches to be able to climb that ranks, just as you did with Nate Bernard to propel yourself for that title match. Like, how much more important do you think it is now, not just to win, but to be able to win in an impressive fashion, especially when you're saying and calling it that you want that belt?
Yeah. No, it's very, very important. You definitely want to get that KO. You want to get that highlight reel. You want to put those butts in the seats. So it's very, very important. Like you just mentioned, my fight with Nate Bernard. Everyone thought I was a 6-1 underdog. Nate was a surefire win. And, I showed up and blew their minds. I pretty much put a big asterisk next to my name for that one, and not only that, but there was 2 other heavyweight fights on that card that were also going for the same thing. Because if Dwayne had a huge performance against Logan, or Dorian had a great performance, or a first-round KO of Ellis, he could have been projected right to the title shot over me if I didn't do what I did. So to all the fighters out there, don't just settle for the W. Settle for the kill. You want that kill, because that's going to get you that title shot. That's going to get you that rank, and that's going to get you that notoriety that you want.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. I apologize to everybody in the chat. Just going here solo. Can't put up all the comments on trying to, work a million different things. But, the King of Kings, I appreciate you, man. Joining me as the co-host here today. It's a big week. Don't go anywhere, man. We're not done yet, because we know that you've got a lot of great insight to be able to give. I just want to apologize to people in the chat that I'm not able to be as active and on it as I've always been. So I'm hearing a lot of rumbling. The matches of the Brendan, whatever you want to call it. There's this dark horse, Brendan Rhodes from season 3. We're hearing that this cat is legit.
Yeah.
Going up against Brendan Bordeaux. I mean, do we have potentially somebody here who's going to challenge the fellow Ohioan, I'm not sure what you guys call yourself, John Davis, for that belt? Could it come from this particular match with Brendan Bordeaux and Brendan Rhodes?
Wow. Well,
because we have seen Erica say, road to the title. They want the winner from that show to be able to move quickly up the ranks for a shot at the title. Season 2, Brandon. Season 3, Brandon. Going head for head. I can see this be a fast track. I really can.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, Corey, but once again, like we just talked about, we also have another big banger with Isaiah Quinones and Wesley Dwayne.
100%.
So that's another match. Like I said, there was matches on the card that I was on that were also fighting for the same thing that I wanted. So we got to see the outcome. Is it going to be a first-round KO? Could Isaiah first-round KO West and upset him? Does West do the same to him? Does Brandon Bordeaux the Butch, Does he get the first round KO out of nowhere? You know, and everyone's saying, oh, he's not really known for his power. What if he comes out and starches this kid? You know, you never know what can happen. So yeah, do I say that this could potentially be a title shot in the making? Absolutely, if the outcome is insane. You know, Brandon Bordeaux, we all know he's got a hell of a chin. You know, Eddie Spaghetti was hitting with some heavy leather. So, you know, but now we got this guy who no one really knows. I don't know. The only people that know of him are the people that were in the house. And from what I'm hearing, did a pretty damn good job, especially against someone who's actually a vet of the sport, not to give anything away. But we'll see. Brandon's got the heart. Brandon, I know, wants this more than anything in the world. And, you know, I'm excited to see what he's got.
Yeah. I mean, the chat's going crazy a lot, you know, echoing very much the sentiment that you said. You know, a lot of people think Wesley Drain is in line for that with a victory. So I think you definitely touched on it and kind of made me eat my words a little bit, but I was just getting down the mind frame, the trajectory of that road to the title and being able to have him. But I think there's definitely some validity. Isaiah Keona is coming down in weight, you know, kind of disrupting that division a little bit. So we are going to see. We've seen Isaiah take some strikes from Russell. We've seen him take the fouls from Russell. Guy is tough as nails as well. We've got someone in the chat saying that I believe it's minus 105 on Wesley is what they're saying on the odds side of things. I think I've got it here somewhere. Wesley Drain, I've got him at plus 108 on Roobets right now. So they're actually on Roobets. He's actually the favorite. So even more, you know, intrigue there coming into this matchup. I think this is a phenomenal match. I'm glad that this is not one that ended up being on the tape side of things. So what does that say as well? Because we are seeing 3 matches that actually are going to be taped. However, they publicly announced it. We know that we're going to get the outcomes. We're going to know what happened, but we're not going to be able to see the entire transparency of how the matches unfold. Do you like this tape model, or do you think they should get away with it and we should just see all 11 fights live and free on that Rumble app?
Yeah, I think with this one, there's a method to their madness because it's all intertwined with season 3. So I'm going to be, you know, I'll be honest, and I think it's a good thing because it probably ends some storylines or puts something into place for the storylines themselves. But I like the taped recordings because it gives the fans something to watch when there's that downtime between cards, because they release them on, like, remember we had like the Slap Wednesdays, which was great, you know, and it gets to introduce the guys on their own day, or for the whole week, because literally their fight will come out and then we'll have to wait a week for another fight to come out. So that one sits there, it brews, it gets the views, people can learn about the fighter, you know, they can look into them. I think when we did that with season 1, 2, I think that really benefited some of the guys with their popularity. But you know, it's tough because you want to see them all. You want to see them as they're happening. But I think it's a great thing. I think they know what they're doing, and I say we keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, definitely an interesting business model. The way that they're taking place, we've seen them flip flop back and forth. They're going back to the tape fights. There's definitely pros and cons to doing it. But I mean, as the purest of the sports and the fans, obviously we want to see all the action. We want to see the excitement, you know, of it, because we absolutely love it. I mean, 8 fights sometimes doesn't feel like enough. I mean, you know, we get 2 hours of power slap, and we're still craving for more. The excitement, you know, happens incredibly fast. I mean, when we're there working it, I mean, it just feels like the entire event goes by so fast. And it was like all the lead up, all the prep, all the hype. And then, you know, it's just done like that. One of the things I think is phenomenal, I'm sure you probably had a moment of this as well. It's like when you're there watching it, or you're sitting backstage watching it, it's totally different than the broadcast itself. Have you not noticed when you go back and watch on the broadcast a couple days later that you end up missing a lot of the elements that you didn't realize when you listen back to the commentating and the mics and everything else? I mean, maybe you being a coach, you can hear some of the context, but from where we are in the crowd, we miss a lot of the audible stuff that get picked up by the mics that the broadcast get to see. So I almost find it's like watching 2 different events from actually being there versus watching the actual taped event. And you kind of get different aspects of it. And I'll have to bring it back to the Danny Van Heerden versus McKinney. Like, we didn't know what was going on. It was like all of a sudden the fight was done and we had no clue, but we didn't realize to the severity. And when you actually watch the tape back, you hear the doctor talking to him, et cetera, what actually happened. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's such a unique time to be alive in Power Slap. I think it's a unique opportunity when the venues are still small, so personal, so intimate, even 3,500 seats. A lot of your local MMA fights are in 3,500 seat venues, and you still get a great seat, like we said, for $69. I mean, Ryan, let's put your best salesman hat on, because I know you're a salesman. I want you to sell to why people should be there live if they have that opportunity in Las Vegas.
If you're not there, you're a square, just like Austin Turpin says. And Austin Turpin's fighting, and he's one of the most exciting athletes in the world at this time. That's something you want to watch. If you want your heart pumping and you want to sweating, and you want to be on the edge of your seat, you got to tune into Power Slap 8, especially since now we're going to a bigger crowd and there's more on the line. We got a big old championship fight with the crazy Hawaiian, who is not miss entertainment. You cannot miss this guy. He puts his heart and soul into every match against a surging Danny Pitbull, who's got South Africa on his back. There's so much on the line. We got Anthony Blackburn, the underdog, going up against the beautiful Manny No Love Munoz. And you know what? These guys are two of the toughest in the sport. They've shown it. They've got more grit than we even know. I know Manny's got more in the tank, and I know Anthony Blackburn's got more in the tank. So that's going to be just one hell of a matchup. Two completely different styles. And, you just can't miss it. And if when the show comes around to your town, you want to get there, because like Corey said, it's a lot different. Your adrenaline's pumping, like I said, and you're going to be talking. It brings the people into a great culture, and you're going to want to talk to your neighbor and shout out loud. And you might miss a few things. You might be more excited. You might be sitting next to, who knows, Nina Drama or Cowboy Cerrone. You just can't miss it. It's the best sport, and you definitely want to tune in.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, the live experience is like no other. If you have the ability to get out there, I tell you, my man, we've got someone in the comments right now that is in tune with what we're doing here at Slap News. I got to tell you, I just seen the first cut, and this is the first time you're watching this live, you're going to get the take. The John Davis Origins is a phenomenal feature. It's not done editing yet. We were hoping to have it out before this event. We're going to have it out after the event now, but I tell you, the editing that has gone into this thing, the story of John Davis, his backstory, what he shared with us when we were able to sit down with him, it is going to be must-watch TV. You're going to want to see that premiere on Slap News, because it's going to be coming to you probably within 2 weeks after Power Slap number 8. But Origins of John Davis, dropping that news right now. And I'm sure, obviously, you know John very, very well. I know you get to go out for dinner with him once in a while and be able to throw it down and train a little bit. John has a great backstory. One of the most down-to-earth, great family guys we have in Power Slap. And his story is phenomenal. I can't wait to be able to share it with the masses.
The GOAT himself, Don Dane.
Absolutely, my man. He's the last original belt holder standing from Power Slap number 1.
Pretty incredible. He's been running through the ranks, but can't wait to see that myself, actually.
100%. Let's talk about some of those odds, my man. Like we said, as of right now, we've got a pretty big favorite in Danny Van Heerden at minus 270. And we've got Austin Turpin, at 238. Do you think those are fair odds? I mean, we've seen Vern Cathy surging up now. Austin, a minus 238 favorite. Let's tackle that one first.
He's negative 278. So he's a
favorite.
A big favorite on Vern. I mean, listen, Austin's got the coin toss, right? Mm-hmm. Vern Cathy. To me, this match would have been who got the coin toss first. Okay, I'm going to put that out there. And it's nothing against either guy, but we've seen both guys, take some steps, get a little rocked. We've seen Vern fortunately get shut down on the first hit. So, he's greatly improved his chin. He took some big bombs by Delvin, which was really awesome. I was proud of him there. But Austin's, he can put guys away in one. He's been working out, I know for sure. He's been putting some power on. And, I think where the odds are at with that match, I think that's a pretty good assessment.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, this is one that I think the coin toss is going to matter the most, because it's going to be the accumulation of damage. We know both these guys are going to throw bombs back and forth at each other, and that accumulation, I think, is definitely going to play into this. I can't see this one going the distance, my man, because I don't know. Can either of these guys withstand 3 strikes from the other? We've seen Austin take the best of the best from Wolverine and not be sat down. So we're going to see if Vern Cathy can channel that same type of energy that he did against Amir Nuruddin, which we haven't seen since. I mean, you know, I even said it to him. I said, was that shot against Amir just a one and done, and we'll never see a strike like that ever again? Because, I mean, you were probably there in the audience. Like, that was probably, that's still to this day, probably the most insane strike that we've had in Power Slap. Wouldn't you agree?
Unfortunately, I wasn't in the audience. I was in the back, and they didn't have the TVs on. I was the main event of that card. So Vern actually was before me, and I went out as the last match, so I didn't get to see it. But I did get to see the unedited video of it all. It was insane. And Vern has that power. He's got that technique. He used to be that strong man, doing the Nordic games, whatever they are, you know, and
Highland games.
The Highland games, the Nordic, whatever. It's all Viking shit. He's a Viking. The guy's a fucking Viking, right? He came over to America on a goddamn ship. But anyway, he can channel that power. He can do it. He if he hits Austin on the button with what he hit, he hit Delvin with. I mean, let's put Delvin's a tough guy. I mean, he's no slouch. So for Vern to do that to Delvin, to have him hit the table and then fall backwards in the same sequence, I mean, he's got some crazy fucking power. So, but Austin's been he has a ton of first round knockouts. He has a knockout against Allen, knockout against Dozier.
He's the only one to pull Wolverine down, sit him down. So
it will knock them out. Yeah. He got the knockout. So that's the only time that Wolverine's ever been knocked out. So, Austin if Austin can. I don't want to say if Austin can stay calm, because I think Austin really, really, he does well when he's on that crazy mode, But as long as he can keep it clean, keep it accurate, and hit him on the button, it's going to be trouble. And like you said, once that damage starts to accumulate, it's going to be even more trouble. But Vern still can throw that big-ass bomb, and it could be the nuclear season.
100%. And the main event, the Crazy Hawaiian, like we said, is a major favorite in this one. -270. I think he's the second favorite. I believe Dumpling is a -300, -345. So he's the biggest favorite on this card. But at -270, obviously they're giving their props, and the money so far is going on the champ against the newcomer and Danny Van Heerden, who got this on a disqualification loss. But we see the star power that Danny has. We see the chin that he has, and we see obviously that international flair. South Africa versus America. My man, is this as big of a discrepancy as we're seeing on the Vegas lines, or is it closer than we think?
You got to give it to Crazy Hawaiian. He's got one hell of a record. He's fought the who's who. He's fought murderers and stood toe to toe and even won in knockout fashion. The Crazy Hawaiian you don't want to bet against. Now he's going up against Danny, and Danny, one hell of a guy, great guy. He's got the fans. He's very likable, very marketable. He's all over the place. I don't think he's still has he taken the jersey off yet? I bet you that thing smells like onions. But you've seen what he did with McKinney. He's going to have to tighten that up big time if he wants to do something to Crazy Hawaiian. Crazy Hawaiian is a vet through and through. There's no doubt that he has the experience to withstand championship fights, the pressure, 5 rounds, 10 rounds. He's been through it all. So, yes, I do think the odds are correct. I think that his experience and just who he is in general is just it just goes to show how far he's come in this sport and how he is. And he is on my Mount Rushmore, one of the legends of the sport. And, Danny's got something to prove. Has he cleaned it up? Has he gained the power? Can he do what he did to John Booth, to Hawaiian? We'll see. Yeah. Tune in.
I was going to ask you a follow-up to that. What does Danny have to do to be able to win this match?
He's got to keep it clean. And he needs to also do more. He needs more technique in his slap. His slap, it's good, but there's a lot of you need a lot of follow through to get that power generated, right? And he doesn't really follow through. He hits, he lets it slide off. If he could, follow through a lot more and let the apex of the slap hit the face, whereas the end of the slap isn't hitting the face, I think that's something that he can really gain from. But he's got toughness on his side. Danny's a very, very tough guy. He was in MMA too, and he's also been in other slap fight promotions across the pond. So, I'm not saying he can't pull it off, but I mean, the mountain's high when you're talking about the crazy Hawaiian.
100%. Couldn't agree with you more. Obviously, there's keys to victories on both sides for these guys. It's going to be must-watch TV coming up on that Rumble app Friday night. Let's take a look at the other half of the card. Like I said, we've got some of the undercards here. Right now, Manny Munoz, a -192. So I think that's interesting to watch. We are seeing quite a distinct, divide. And then, with this, we're not seeing a ton of close matches. I mean, Wesley Dwayne, Isaiah Quinones is one of the tightest matches on this card. And I think that bodes well with the followers of this particular show, obviously in the comments section, who are tossing up about it. And obviously that line is tightening as we kind of get towards it. I know we haven't talked a lot about it on this episode. I mean, episode 15, 16, we talked a lot about Emmanuel Munoz, Anthony Blackburn. Right now, we're seeing Manny still be a fairly heavy favorite at the -190 range. I mean, Manny is coming down in weight, is going to be the bigger the stature of the two guys. I mean, we see him listed at 6 feet tall. He's somewhere around my height. Anthony Blackburn coming in with that impressive victory over KO Chris, who's been known for his chin along the way, has now proven that he was able to have, quote unquote, he might have borrowed that soul slicer from Mr. King of Kings on that one that he did on KO Chris, but he's coming in hot. This matchup, let me ask you from an Anthony's perspective, what does he have to do to be able to dethrone the champion?
He's got to be accurate. The on one technique, it's tough. You got to prepare. You got to train it. And he loves that thing, man. And you know what? It's bode well for him. Like you said, if we compare Manny's fight with KO Chris to Blackburn's fight with KO Chris, looks like Blackburn did a little bit better. But and you never know what KO Chris was feeling that night. I mean, the pressure was on for him when he went up against Manny. So, we don't know. But Blackburn, he's just got to just do what he's doing. Ever since I've met him, he's been pretty on point, and he's always been very astute. He wants to learn, and he asks me questions. I give it back. And like he said, he brought the soul slicer out for KO Chris, and he told me that after he won. And I was like, awesome, man. Hey, the soul slicer is the banger. But I'm proud of him, and Manny's got a tough match against him. If, like I said, once again, if we compare what happened with KO Chris to both those guys, I think that's how they're figuring out the odds more or less, because the odds are very, in my opinion, they're closer than what I thought they would be.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, my man. I appreciate you as always for joining us. I've got one more for you though, my man. All right.
Yes, sir.
If you had to pick one lock from a betting perspective on this card, who would it be?
Oh, definitely the Russian Dumpling. Sorry, Camille, but I think Russian Dumpling's going to take it. But then again, he could always foul out. Man, it's tough. It's tough. I couldn't tell you, man. I would think the Dumpling though, because I've coached Camille, and I don't think he belongs in super heavyweight. That's just my opinion.
Gotcha, my man. I appreciate you joining me, riding co-host for the entire episode here today. It's exciting times, my man. I appreciate you as always. And we'll keep on fighting the good fight and look forward to seeing you up there once again in Power Slap very soon. Take care.
You know it, Corey. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Slap News Nation. Good night.